And it's the morning news with Webster and Nancy on WILK and on Fox 56 883-0098 1-800-437-0098. The phone numbers, you can text talk to 99404. Been telling you about a call. We've been waiting on Bobby Livingston, who's the VP of Sales and Marketing for RR Auction, specializing in historic documents and memorabilia, being showcased in, I guess, the first ever for them, Civil War autographs and artifact auction. Bobby joins us now. Hi, Bobby.
Hi, good to be with you.
It's me and L.A. Tyrone here this morning. And the 150th anniversary of the American Civil War years. I'm looking at a list of some of the things that you guys have available for auction, and it's a really, it's an astounding list. The Abraham Lincoln artifacts and Ulysses S. Grant and Jefferson Davis and more.
It's an amazing collection. I think for me, the coolest thing, I don't know if you've ever seen anything like it, is a actual autographed photo of Abraham Lincoln. In those days, they printed up those little CDVs. They're pretty small photographs, but he actually autographed one, and we have it. It's probably the only one in private hands. It's amazing.
And is that the one that was taken by Alexander Gardner?
Yeah.
Gardner was a great photographer. He actually took some of the pictures that Matthew Brady got credit for because he worked for Brady.
That's right. Gardner worked with him in Washington, D.C., and started his own studio by 1863 and became the great photographer of Gardner. And so we've got another Gardner photograph, unsigned. It's an original Gardner print of the execution of the Lincoln conspirators. It's a pretty chilling photograph.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, I've seen it. I have a biography on Gardner, and it's...
So, obviously you guys, Bobby, are in the business here, but how do you amass such how do you accumulate such an astounding amount of memorabilia from one particular era? Do you seek it out? Do people come to you? How does it work?
Well, we've been in business for over 30 years, holding monthly sales. We specialize in autographed documents, handwritten letters of famous people. So we have a whole cachet of world-class collectors that buy and sell through us. So, when we want to do a special sale, we kind of know where to go get the stuff. We're treasure hunters, but we have some pretty good clues.
But when you start talking about things like Abraham Lincoln's eyeglasses, that seems like talk about a one in a zillion.
He actually, the night he was assassinated, interestingly enough, he had 2 pairs of glasses in his pockets, and those are in the National Archives. These pairs came from his great-grandchildren. His descendants had these up until the last 30 years. So the provenance and the paperwork are pretty locked in on these glasses. But he had several pairs, is what I'm trying to say. But we're happy to have one in our auction.
That's great. And you have a letter. I'm looking at a letter from Jefferson Davis written right after the opening attack at Fort Sumter.
Yep. When finding Jefferson Davis wrote a lot. He wrote a lot of letters, but anything that's associated with the Civil War and his time in office has got great value and interest. And of course, South Carolina, for us Yankees, South Carolina was the hotbed of secession and caused a lot of problems. So I kind of like that letter.
In general, what brings more, the stuff affiliated with the Confederacy or with the Union side?
In this sale, typically it's the Confederates have more of a cult following, and that's bring a lot of money. Lincoln outsells them, though, because he's such an iconic president, probably our greatest president, and one that was, murdered in office. So his writings are rare and highly sought after. But Confederates have a great cult following.
John Wilkes Booth, a letter that he wrote in 1861. Just the list goes on and on and on.
That's right. What makes, of course, Booth the assassin, what makes him very rare is right after the assassination, and while they were looking for him, and then while the trial was going on in 1865, everybody who knew Booth was suspect. And so they destroyed their correspondence, even if they were totally innocent. We've seen letters cut up, his name extracted, so you just don't see a lot of Booth. But this one is an incredible letter written in a hotel lobby in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1861. He's talking about, he was one of the most famous actors in America. We kind of forget that. So some of the content's about his performance in Cincinnati and playing there, but if you look at the letter, you see his incredible signature with this giant, beautiful flourish of an actor who would go on, of course, to murder our president.
It's just amazing, and I'm looking at some of the other things here, too. And if you had to point to one thing, what would you say is the central, if there's one major Civil War artifact or piece of memorabilia that you have, which one would it be, do you think?
Well, besides the ones we've kind of talked about, we do have a pretty amazing letter from Mary Todd Lincoln. Her son Willie had died a week or two before this, and she talks about her and the president grieving. In it, she says, I've sent you a photo of my dead son, and we have the picture of Willie that she sent. And also, in those days, the president didn't have to pay for postage, so on this incredible black-bordered envelope, morning stationery, Lincoln had signed his name, so we call it a free franc, up in the top envelope. So I think that's an incredibly powerful piece.
Do you have any current bids on any of this material to give everybody an idea of what they kind of go for?
Sure. The Lincoln photograph is at $49,279. The John Wilkes Booth letters is a little over $37,000 currently, and Mary Lincoln is around $18,000.
So we're talking very serious collectors here, obviously, when you're talking about something of this magnitude. Now, if you go to the website, you can get a look at all these items. Is that correct?
That's right. It's rrauction.com. We're in Amherst, New Hampshire, and we do have lots of items that are $100 as well. So there's things for everybody, and there's lots of Pennsylvania stuff in there to check out as well. And
the Civil War auction is ongoing. I mean, it's been going on for a couple of days, and it goes through tomorrow. Is that correct?
That's right. About 7 o'clock Eastern time, the auction will end.
All right. Well, that sounds excellent. And I've checked out the website. I'm going to take a look again here. And, I don't know if I have $18,000 for something like this, but the $100 category, and certainly Civil War buffs and collectors would love to check out what you guys have up for auction.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me on, and hopefully we'll break some records tomorrow night. We can talk again.
All right, sounds good. Bobby Livingston, VP of Sales and Marketing for RR Auction. And the website, again, if you are interested, is www.rr, the letters R,
right,
rrauction.com. You can go check it out.
What you said about John Wilkes Booth, I mean, imagine Brad Pitt assassinating the president. That's the level
I was thinking the same
Booth
thing.
Was at the time.
A very famous actor.
A very big star.
I didn't think Brad Pitt. I actually thought Alec Baldwin.
Okay.
But I didn't, Yeah. But you're right. I mean, that's the level that we're talking about here. It's certainly a recognizable
I was going to say Burt Reynolds, but I don't know how many people remember who he was.